Hello there, my name is Amr Abeid. I'm going to be with you today in learning more about the SEER database. Today we are going to use the SEER database to answer a simple question, and that is, where are most breast cancer lumps usually found? In order to answer this question, we are first going to extract the data from the SEER database, transfer the data into Excel, and then open the data in Excel with a statistical software to run a distribution analysis on the primary sites of breast cancer in women. So as a first step, we're going to open the SEER database, and I'm going to open a cancer listing session here. Of course, we are all experts now after watching all the videos or all the introductory videos about how to extract data from the SEER database. If you want to know more about that, you should be watching our earlier videos. So this is the database that we have chosen. Let's make it our default database. In the selection tab, we're going to click Edit, and in the site morphology, the site Recode International Classification Disease and Oncology and WHO classification. We're going to choose the site as breast. We're going to scroll down until we find it. Here it is. So we're making sure that the operator is equal to 2 so that we are choosing only breast cancer. After clicking OK, it will be added to our selection values. And of course, since breast cancer occurs both in males and females, so we're going to add a second selection criteria, which is that we want it to be in only females. So in the sex here, we're going to choose female and then click OK. So these are the cohorts of patients or the groups of patients with breast cancer and who are females. We are looking for the primary sites of this breast cancer. So when this breast cancer happened, where did it occur? So in order to do that, we are going to construct a table. I usually include the patient ID as a column variable here, and then I'm going to just double check that the sex is female. I'm going to double check the site, so I'm going to include the site Recode here as a column variable, and as a last thing, I'm going to include the primary site label here as a column variable. So we have got 4 columns in this table: the patient ID, the sex of the patient, the site Recode, and the primary site labeled. In the output, we're going to give it a name. So we're going to give this resulting table a name. Let's say breast cancer by primary site. And then we are going to click execute in order to let the SEER stat software create our table. Now you see that the SEER stat is creating the table, and in a few moments they're going to give us the total amount of patients. So we're nearly like 720,000 cases with breast cancer, and then the table shown here. So they are giving us the matrix or the table of the SEER stat. So these are 4 columns. This is the column for the patient ID. This is the column for the sex, and as you see, it's all females here. This is the third column is the site Recode, and as we see here, it's all breast. So we are double checking our selection criteria, and this is the primary site label. This is the variable that I want to explore. Without going into details, every primary site has a code. So the breast not otherwise specified as a code of C50.9. Overlapping lesions of the breast has a code that is C50.8. It will not matter that much if we leave it as it is or delete the code. Either way, it's not going to affect our distribution analysis. So now we have collected the data. The second step will be to transfer this data into an Excel spreadsheet. So we are going to click here and then hold on the left mouse button and go to the right until we include all the 4 columns. Then we're going to right click here until this pop-up window opens, and we're going to click OK. course, these are many cancer cases, so I am expecting a little difficulty in transferring it into the Excel program. We may even need to transfer it like column by column, because sometimes Excel refuses to transfer that much data from one source to another. So we have copied all the 4 columns, and then we're going to click here, paste. I'm expecting that the Excel will have some difficulty doing so. Well, we are fortunate. We are lucky that it accepted all the data that we chose it to transfer to the Excel. Like if we scroll down to the last bit of rows, we can see it is 724,206. So we have included all the patients. We are lucky indeed. The next step will be to save it. So I'm going to save as, and I'm going to browse. Let's save it into desktop, and let's name it also breast cancer by primary sites. And now let's save it. So we have now saved it. Okay, so let's close this Excel file. Let's keep our files open, and then we will open the Jump Pro 14, which is my favorite statistical software. Close this, and we're going to open. We're going to choose from our source. So this is the breast cancer by primary site. This is our file. We're going to double click it, and it will open it in a few seconds. Well, here it's like letting me know about certain things with respect to the orientation of the data and how we display the variables. I don't mind any of the things that Jump tells me, so I click import always. It's taking some time because like I said, it's a huge amount of patient cases. These are huge amounts of cancer or breast cancer cases, so it's taking them some time to display as a data table. So be patient. This is the preliminary view of the data table. So this is the patient ID, this is the sex, this is the site recode, and this is the primary site label as it is previewed in the Jump 14 software. Right now it's still, I'm afraid I don't want to click that, because if I click it, they will give me the message of not responding. So I click it here, it's not responding, but it's just taking some time to include all the 720,000 patient cases in the table. Finally, it opened it, and as you see here, these are the patient ID, the sex, the site recode, the primary site labeled, all are columns, and these are the column names. Of course, the Jump software treats these numbers as continuous variables, when in fact these are nominal variables, because these are patient numbers. I mean the patient ID. So 9, this is a patient number, so we're going to change it into nominal, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it also as another file, breast cancer by primary site here. I'm going to remove the extension and then save it. And now we're going to do our analysis. So here we choose the primary site labeled, which is the column with the variables about the primary site. So here we only want this column to analyze. We will run a distribution analysis to see what are the frequencies of different primary sites of breast cancer locations within the cohort of 724,205 patients. So we're going to click here Analyze and then click Distribution. It will give us the table that we will use, and I will only use the primary site here as a Y variable, and then I'm going to click OK, and immediately the JUMP software creates a bar graph for me. Of course, I can like make it upright like this in order to make a better visualization of the data. I can make it upright like this. I can keep it as it is, but let's make it upright so that we can read the labels of each column. So as we see here, it's obvious that this location, which is the upper outer quadrant of the breast, is the location where most of the breast cancer lumps usually occur in females. And if you go down to the frequency table here into the upper outer quadrant, we see that 241,499 patients had their breast cancer lumps in the upper outer quadrant of their breasts. And these percentages approximate like 33% of the total cohort of patients. So about 1/3 of breast cancer patients in the US in the period of study from which we took our breast cancer patients had their breast cancer primarily occur in the upper outer quadrant of the breast. If you look further into the graph, we see that the next most common site is overlapping. So when the cancer was diagnosed, it usually took parts of multiple quadrants. But we're not going to include this as a primary site because we don't know which quadrants they occurred. And the next primary site is the breast, but not otherwise specified. So it is in the breast, but we don't know which quadrant it occurred in. So we're going to disregard this information also. The next most common site for breast cancer was in the upper inner quadrant. And then as you see, the next bar was corresponded to the lower outer quadrant, and then the next one is the central portion of the breast, and the next one is the lower inner quadrant of the breast. So by using the SEER database, we were able to quantify the frequency of primary sites where breast cancer lumps in females occurred. And this was one of the information that we can practically practice with using the SEER database. I hope this video was informative. I hope it shed some light on some applications of the SEER stat software and the SEER database. So please stick with us for more videos. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel in order to be informed about further ways in which you can use the SEER database for your research. Thank you very much.